Right, now that all that planing is done, we can put some straight edges on these pieces of wood. So I'm going to do that with my straightening jig that I made a wee while ago. Once we've done that, we can then put them through the saw to make the two edges parallel, and then hopefully we can glue up our panel. So let's get on with that. Right, now that we have our clean edge on here, we can flip this over and use that against the fence to put a parallel straight edge on this side. So I'm hoping that that will, well, I'm expecting it to be pretty clean, so it should make for a nice clean glue joint. So here we go. So here we go. I'll just put some glue on here. There we go. I'm not putting a lot of pressure on those just yet because I want to squeeze this up. Before I do that. And put a bit more pressure on there to just make sure everything remains pretty flat. Which it seems to be. Oh, that one's not going to be big enough. So you can see we just got a bit of glue squeeze out just there and there, not much there. And you can feel here on both sides that it's a bit warped, so I've got this big dirty other clamp. Hopefully that will. Oh yeah, did you see that? That moved. Certainly a lot less. I wonder if it would be better coming from the other side. Right, that's pretty good. So that's one panel done, and then I'll glue up the other panel in exactly the same way. Alright, so it's the next day, time to remove some clamps. Right, so that's one panel. This is the next one. That's the next panel. That is also feeling very flat. Great. Okay, so that gives me 3 panels in total. Because there's one that I had previously, and so I just need to work out my sizes, and that'll be the next step, and then make the panels the right size. Okay, so this is the big drawer on the other side, so I want to measure from the back of that. So that's 253 3. So 250, just check. Yep, okay, so we need our cabinet to be no deeper than 250 millimeters. 250 millimeters is going to be there. So what I need to do is put a straight edge along here, and then I can bring that mark back down and we can cut it to final length. So now I need to work out how tall to make the side pieces. So that is going to be 3, 7, 8. And once I've made these things, I can take these out, those shelf supports, because the shelf here will sit on top of the box. So 3, 7, 8 from our straight edge here will take us to 3, 7, 5, 6, 7, 8. Will take us to there. So if we mark there, stand up on edge. Okay, and we can put a wee V there that shows that we're this side of the line is where our mark is where we need to cut to. So we'll set that up on the table saw. So hopefully you can see that our line is there, and what I want to do is line it up so that this edge of the teeth on the blade are on our mark right there. So with that lined up, I'm going to make I'm going to put a stop block in. So with that now in the correct place, I'm going to put a stop block in here. Actually, I'm going to put it over on this side. So again, that allows me to make repeatable cuts, which is what I'm after here. So let's cut 4 pieces that length. There we go, we've got 4 pieces, same width and same length. So let's see how we did. Let's try it for fit underneath the cabinet, underneath the bench. Okay, let's see how we did. So I've tried that right in the corner there, and it is a bit too long. That's my mark there, so that is probably a blade width. So back to the table saw to just trim that off. So back from the table saw, how do we get on this time? That is pretty good. Yep, and that goes all the way to the back of that drawer. So yeah, that's good. I'm happy with that. Just check the other end. Yep. Excellent. Next job is to figure out how long pieces we need. So I've got 2 pieces at the end, and I'm just going to measure that, and that is looks like 520 millimeters. Right, so I've got our 2 side pieces here. I've also cut down some pieces for the top and the bottom, all to the same length, so we can put together, well, we can dry fit our first carcass like so. And what I want to do here is work out just how thick the base is going to be. Which is there, because what I want to do now is make some dado cuts, which are just small channels that go along here, and I'll make those the thickness of the MDF board I've got, that'll become our draw runner slide, a channel for the draw runner to slide in. And again, with stop blocks, we'll be setting it up on the table saw so that we can make repeatable cuts, because both sides need to be exactly the same for this to work. So let's get on and do that. So I've measured my MDF and it is exactly 6 millimeters. So what I want to do then is put a mark like that. That was the mark from the thickness of our bottom rails, spaces, whatever they are. So I need to cut that piece out. So the question becomes how deep to make this cut. Transfer those lines. Just make sure I get that right. That should be 6 millimeters. Looks like it is. So I think about half, so just about there. So let's set that up on the table saw and see how we get on. First thing we need to do is set our depth. So I need to drop the saw down. You can see the piece I've marked with an X. And then we just carefully there. That's how deep we need it to be. So we need to line up this mark with the side which I think is going to be about call it there, and then we'll set up our stop block with that in position. So once again, making sure you don't move this. That looks pretty good to me, so I think we're ready to make the first cut. So here you can see we've got our first cut in, but we still need to do the other side of the channel. So it's going to be a case of lining it up with the teeth. So line it up there, then move our stop block. And then make the next cut. So this is our dado cut, and we just need to see if we're right, because these things have to be fine-tuned, and this one needs to be fine-tuned. So when I fine-tune it, I want to fine-tune it this way. So I will go back to the saw and we'll just adjust our stop block just a fraction, just to get that cut in the right place. So I have moved the stop block a couple of times just to get this in the right place, and then that will slide on there, and then so that is perfect. There's a tiny bit of play, which is exactly what you want. So I need to do that on the other piece and then work out how tall I want each drawer to be. So yes, so the next thing is to, while we've got it all set up, is to cut the same channel in the other piece of the other side. Right, so here we go. So this is the piece of wood I'm using for the top. So I just drew a line by getting that nice and flush. Drew a line straight down there. So that's the top of the last drawer. This is the bottom of the first drawer. So that gives me a measurement of 336. So if we divide that into 3, we'll get 116. So that would be 116 there, which means it'll be 200 and 32. Let's see if my maths is right. 16. And 15. Yeah, so that's my maths right. There and there. No, that's not right at all. I need to measure from the bottom of that. So, the good things about using pencil on wood is it just rubs off. So if I measure from the bottom, which is 3, 4, 2, and I divide that by 3, that'll give me the measurement for the bottom of the drawers. Yes, that's what I need to do. So 114, let's make it easier on ourselves. 114 is there, which means it'll be 228, which is there. Just double check. Yep. And yep. So those points are now going to be the bottom of our of the drawer. And so that means we need 6mm, which this is still set at. There. And put across where the waist is. So what I need to do now is transfer those marks down like that, and mark where the waist is. And now we can just go back to the table saw and cut those out to fit the MDF. Okay, let's put this thing together. So if that's flush, it's going to be there. If that one's flush, it's going to be about there. A couple of screws in each of those. About the middle. Right, tighten these up. nice and flush. And again. Right, now for the next side. Again, I'll just mark where these are going to be. Right, if I place the battery in the camera, we can go again. So, need to work out how wide I need my MDF to be. So, from there to there is 536 on that one. $539 on that, and $539 on that. So the smallest one is 536. 536 millimeters. I'm just going to check. It's all the same, so that should be 536. Nope, it's 538. 539. That one is 539 as well. So I think 536 is what we need. So that'll allow us to slide in on all of them. So I'm going to cut some MDF that is 536 millimeters wide. And then we'll chop it down to length to make our drawer bottoms. Right, here we go. I've got it all set up, trying to make a straight cut. So let's see how we go. So like I said, I'm expecting to need to trim a little bit off this. But yeah, let's see how we go. Well, yeah, maybe just a fraction off it, but that looks pretty good to me. So I'm just going to mark where that comes to, just below, and that's how wide we need it to be for our drawer bottoms. So here's our tiny little mark. Just need to make a little mark like that. Now that this piece is more manageable, we can cut this on the circular saw. Right, so if this fits, I can cut the other two. So here we go, that's how it works. So that'll be the bottom of the drawer. That one's a little bit tight, but I'm going to cut it to this size so that I can just plane off the end. That'll be no problem. Alright, so there we go. Right, let's cut the other two. Right, I don't think it's going to need a great deal, so very much a case of trial and error. It's just a bit. That looks pretty good to me. Maybe just a bit more. Set this side. Oh, look at that, much better. Okay, so I'm going to label these so that I know which one they go into. So this one is, let's call this A1. 2, A3, because the ones on the other side will be B1, 2 and 3. So. Right, so the next thing to do, which it's 4:30, I'll probably do this tomorrow, is we'll make the sides for the drawers and plan out how we're going to do things. Right, I'm having a bit of a change of plan. This is obviously going to be too deep for screw storage, so I think if we put another drawer in the middle here on each side, that'll give us the right size. So let's get that planned out. And yes, I am adapting this on the fly, so never mind. It's not glued, it's just screwed together, so it'll all disassemble, and then we can put the grooves in just like we did before. Okay, so we need to find the middle of these pieces, so this one between there and there. It says 108. Let's make that 106. So it's going to be slightly off center, but I think that's going to be a good thing. So that's going to be 53 millimeters. There we go. So if I mark that, yeah, it's about middle. And again. And the mark is there. So this is our centre. So I think the kerf on my saw blade is fraction under 3 millimeters. So if I can get the saw blade on either side of that line, I'll end up with a 6mm dado that our 6mm ply will fit into. So I'm going to take this apart and we'll get this side set up on the table saw. So I have lined up the board to cut just on that side of the centre line that I marked before, and then I've set up the stop block so that I can make repeatable cuts, because I'm going to do this on the other side as well, so they need to be in the same place. And then I'll just move the stop block so that the blade, this side of the blade is where the gap is, and that'll make a 3mm cut on the other side of this line. So that's how I think it should work. I'm about to find out if I'm right. So there we go. 6 shells now, so that's pretty cool. Next job is to actually make the drawers themselves. So I shall get ready to do that. Right, well, unfortunately that's all I've got time for this week. I've had to take the dog to the vet and a few other things, so join me next week where I finish making the drawers. So I'll make the sides, and then we'll make the dividers that go into the drawers to make more efficient use of all the space that we've created. So yeah, thanks for watching. Do like and subscribe to the channel, ring the notification bell, and join us next week on the Workbench Apprentice.